Majo John Madden broadcasting on December 22nd, about 8 in the morning, from my fabulous sound studio at the Salvation Army shelter in Asheville, North Carolina. A little mold over my head, and I am in the shower room. It's the place I can go to get quiet. And I'll make a note about the lifelong process of trying to understand what the hell we have been trying to say to ourselves. I've come to know over the last many years that the real project of human life is to learn who you are, and related to that is to try to understand what you knew all along, but somehow it never clicked. I've been writing poetry since I was in elementary school. But when I moved to Asheville in '04, I took myself seriously as a writer. Actually even dared to call myself a writer for the first time. And I've published 2 poetry books. One of them was out in the TV room in a guy's hand, so I didn't want to take that from him. It's a little cruder book. It's a Xerox spiral-bound poetry chapbook called Call Me Crazy, which is an anthem of mine. And it was poetry I wrote before getting to Asheville. This book here, Something Rises, I published in Asheville, and Something Rises is a line from one of my poetry. And Jubilee Poems, that's the church where I perform poetry on a regular basis. And I sold about 150 of these, mostly right there at church or at 3 poetry concerts I did over 16 years in Asheville. The most fun comment was a guy who said, he was visiting me, and he said, "This book is on my friend's coffee table in Atlanta." That knocked me out. And if you search on Amazon for this book, last time I searched, you could find a copy at some book reseller in California, and instead of charging $17, what I did, they were charging $75 because there was an inscription from the author, But really what that means is that somebody didn't hold on to the book. They gave the book away or tried to sell it somewhere. So it's not going to my head totally. But I'm delivering a poem tonight at a Toastmasters meeting that's in one of these books. And I have taken to leaving it around, and the guy in the living room said, "That's good poetry, man." And I said, "Well, I always called it guerrilla poetry or street poetry for the common person." And one of the best compliments I used to get on a regular basis was, "I don't like poetry, man, but I like your poetry." So I actually packaged it where it would speak to people. Because I'm a gritty, working-class Chicago Irish guy. I am. But the thing I really want to say about these poems, I was bawling like a baby out there this morning, sitting reading that early book, going, you understood in 1997 all this shit about being who you are, and who you are is the only serious question, and life in this present moment is all that counts. You knew all that then. Why didn't it make you happy back then? Fortunately, 6 years ago, I had a spiritual experience where everything kicked in, and it did make me happy, and does make me happy, and I am happy. That's just my base of operations. When I had that experience, I wandered around confused, going, did I get enlightened? Yeah, here's the deal. The poem I'm delivering tonight is called Too Much. It's about being too much for people. And I was in a coffee shop yesterday, 2 days ago, and heard a song called LSD, Driving on Lakeshore Drive, Chicago, all along the lakefront, my favorite drive. And I remembered, shit, this is the poem. Too Much is the poem. And there's a poem in here called Who Are You? Which is what I got from Ramana Maharshi 20 years ago. That's the only important question. But back in 1997, I had gone through a 4-day workshop called the Enlightenment Intensive, a classic workshop. Lots of people would deliver it. And it consisted of spending the whole weekend sitting across from various people who would ask you for 6 minutes or something, who are you? And you just kept answering, stream of constant, answer. And what's classic in that workshop is that somewhere around Saturday night, people really hit a wall and go, fuck, I don't know who I am. Or everything I'm coming up with is stuff I got from TV or from my family. And it's typical, almost desirable that you go through a night of living hell near the end. And then most people, if they're lucky, by Sunday, by the last morning, they float up and they get peaceful. And so 2 days after getting back to Chicago from Milwaukee, where I went through that workshop, I was driving on LSD, Lakeshore Drive, not really impaired, and one of those two poems, Too Much or Who Are You, I think it was Too Much, downloaded as I was driving. I went, holy fuck, I've got a poem. And I pulled off at a legal spot to pull off, and in 20 minutes had written the whole poem, almost 98% what in its final form. And I used to say, writing poetry is the most spiritual experience I have because it's coming from someplace else, I don't know where, and I am the humble scribe. I'm participating in something bigger. Problem is, I didn't understand it. I did not understand it, and I go, holy fuck, it's taken me 30 years to understand what I wrote. I'm odd, I'm a little humbled, and I'm sharing this stuff now with the guys at the homeless center, and they're reading the books, and guy this morning is going, you have a YouTube channel? Let me pull it up, I'll put it on the TV. I go, he's going to play my YouTube channel on the TV in the TV room? But then he got distracted. He got distracted by something else and totally forgot about that. And then he held on to my phone and he was downloading apps. So the whole thing of, oh, this is good. He's going to put my shining face up on the TV. No, it did not work out that way at all. Oh, God. Why don't they? I see, who is it, Rodney Dangerfield? I get no respect. I get no respect around here. There I've got a book, and I've even been saying, yes, I have a PhD. And I get no fucking respect. I'm pissed off because, above all, I want to be taken seriously, all right? Bye.